Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have the latest from the live radar, run for the UKV, look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, as it is going to still remain fairly unsettled as we head through the first week of April. However, we are going to see some changes with the temperatures. It's going to be really quite up and down, with the risk of some pretty warm weather at times, especially into this weekend. Now, we're not talking about anything major, but we could see a blast of warm air on Saturday, and we could see other blasts of warmer air as we head into next week. This is simply as those low pressure systems arrive from the Atlantic. They draw up some very warm air ahead of their weather fronts. And what we're seeing on Saturday is this small warm sector that's containing some very, very warm African air. Upper air temperatures up to around 15 degrees at 850 HPA, and we could see our first 20 degrees for quite some time. As we enter the longer range, we are also seeing some positives in terms of higher pressure could be making a little bit more of an influence. Now, it's not a massive distinct change at this stage, but we're seeing more high pressure cells developing and trying to hold on, but the jet stream is still fairly active, so it's unlikely to be a long drawn warm dry spell, but we could see a few good days strung together perhaps as we head towards the middle of the month. So positive trends there if you're looking for something a little bit drier and warmer. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitch as well, the link's in description. So if we do start on the live radar, you can see we do have some rain moving across much of England and Wales at the moment. We've got last night's rain that crossed England and Wales, still lingering across Scotland here. Again, it's fizzling away, but still causing quite a lot of cloud and some on and off rain. Further southwards, we've seen another weather front pushing in with some pretty heavy pulses within this. It is moving pretty quickly and is going to clear slowly northwards overnight tonight, but it's another evening where we're seeing lots of heavy rain moving in, and we're seeing, again, quite a few areas of localised flooding, as we have seen lots of rain over the past couple of weeks. See, the rainfall rates aren't insane, but they are still pretty high, and as I said, could see 5 to 10 millimetres from this when it's all said and done. Again, in isolation, it isn't a huge amount, but on top of everything we've seen in the past couple of weeks, it is continuing to tot up. If you look at the temperatures, you can see it is fairly cool further southwards. Of course, we have got milder air pushing in with this weather front, but it's actually still not particularly warm, as we do have cloud and rain around. Further northwards, we've still got some cold air hanging on, but that is slowly going to get chipped away over the coming days as we start to trend above average as we slowly head into the bulk of April. Now, if you go over to the latest UKV, this has just updated, and you can see over the course of this evening, the rainfall slowly clearing northwards and pushing into Scotland through the morning, maybe even lingering across parts of northern England around lunchtime as well. Further southwards, it's drier with some breaks in the cloud, could lead to some sunshine, but then a few heavy showers could break out. As we head into Wednesday evening, we see another batch of rain moving in from the southwest. Now, it doesn't look anywhere near as extensive or as heavy, but still a couple hours more of some moderate rainfall for some. Eventually that clears into Thursday, and then we see a real heavy bout of precipitation moving in from the southwest, and really high in rainfall rates along that through Thursday morning. Could be quite a squally area of rain moving through for the commute, especially into London there through rush hours. That's going to be one to keep an eye on. It's far enough away where small fluctuations can increase or decrease its intensity and could change its timings. So you need to keep a close eye on that, because that could be pretty intense for a time. And then eventually through Thursday, just another day of sunshine and showers. No big walls of rain here until the evening, where we see another area of rain moving in from the southwest, slowly pushing northwards, maybe even some heavy snow across parts of Scotland before it slowly clears. And this is where we start to push in that very warm air through Friday into Saturday. It's not particularly noticeable on this UKV chart here, but as this warm front clears northwards, this is it here, it does draw in some very mild air on its southern flank, in this gap between the cold front, which is still out in the Atlantic, the warm front clearing northwards. We see those upper air temperatures rising to around 15 degrees or even higher potentially in the far east. Now that warm air does get pushed away through the morning, so very quickly you can see it does get pushed away with this line of showers, reintroducing cooler air. Now it is a slower transition, so we will see warm temperatures into Saturday afternoon, but we could see the temperatures actually peak around 11 or 12 as we do see. That's when we have the warmest air. It's difficult to see exactly on this precipitation chart, but we'll show you the temperatures in a minute. And then eventually we see the westerly winds come back in, and we see cooler, fresher Atlantic conditions pushing in. Pretty showery regime, but we could see more warmer spikes into next week as well. Now, if you put on those upper air temperatures, you can see the general theme on Thursday is milder in the south, but not incredibly mild, and colder in the north. But look what happens through Friday. We start to see some even milder air moving into the far south. And then look through Friday evening, some incredibly mild air, around 15 degrees at 850 HPA, around 6 a.m. in the morning. So Saturday could be a pretty muggy day, at least to start off with. And then as we head through the afternoon, you see that very warm air gets pushed away, and we see about a 10-degree temperature drop in the space of a few hours. Now, and originally you'd think that is going to be accompanied by quite a lot of rain, but instead it's going to include a few heavy thundery showers along that before being pushed away, and we go back into fresher Atlantic air into Sunday. If you put on the max temperatures, you can see as we head into tomorrow, again, maybe low to mid-teens at best. Again, where we avoid the rain. Colder, of course, further northwards. As we head into Thursday, again, it's a similar picture, cooler further northwards, 15-16 degrees further south. It's quite a distinct contrast there where we do see precipitation moving northwards. As we head into Friday, you can see it milder in the afternoon, around 17 or 18 degrees across much of England and Wales. Still across Scotland, maybe around freezing. So actually pretty chilly there indeed. But into Saturday, very mild air starts to push in for all. And you see into Scotland, we're into the low teens. And by Saturday afternoon, or actually by lunchtime, when we can see the highest temperatures, you see it's 20 degrees at midday. But remarkably, look at 9 a.m. and even 6 a.m. mid to high teens. Saturday 9 a.m. very muggy feel out there as we see this very humid warm air pushing up from the south. If we look at the dew points, you can see the dew points into the low teens, which is insane for this. Which is insane for dew points, but for this time of year it is very high, but we can still see dew points well below freezing. And I said, as we head into Saturday afternoon, the temperatures actually start to cool down as the very mild air gets pushed away, and then into Sunday you can see back down to more what we'd expect around the mid-teens. So we could see a little spike there on Saturday. Could be higher, could be 22, 23 degrees if we saw that very warm wedge of upper air temperatures coincide with the peak of the day. But it's looking like it's going to coincide with around 6 to 9 a.m, which is why peak temperatures will be around lunchtime and it will drop away in the afternoon. If that did change, which is plausible at this stage, a couple hours shift in the movement of that air mass, then we could see even warmer temperatures, so do keep a very close eye on that. Now, if you look at the longer range, you can see at the moment it is very blocked, and that is what's causing this southerly shacking jet stream. But that greener block is going to break down over the coming days, and we see the jet stream drop southwards and drive northwards through the UK, and that's why we see this southerly wind for a time. But unsettled conditions do return, but you can see more of a flat westerly in the jet stream, just trying to push northwards once again into next week. If you do follow those isobars back from the southwest, it's going down towards the Azores, so we could see again, as I said, some milder, warmer blasts of air moving in. But you see, we never fully get high pressure dominating, which is why it's always going to be changeable, and we could see some dry for a couple of days consecutively, but no massive week or 10-day long dry warm spell. High pressure hanging on there for a time, but always getting pushed away by cooler air into the longer term. Again, it's best look at this on the ensembles, which we'll do in the end of the video. If you compare to the GM, again, westerly winds at the moment, that green and block dissipates. Southerly winds get pushed up with very mild upper air temperatures. We look at those into the weekend. You see that blast around 15 degrees. It's literally there within a couple of hours before getting pushed away, and then eventually you can see westerly winds return, oscillating air mass, but still seeing this high pressure to our south trying to nudge up, trying to give us a couple of days of milder, dry conditions. You can see here from the precipitation, look at all this dry weather towards the Mediterranean. That's that high pressure cell trying to push northwards, but we'll have to see if it wins out against the Atlantic. Has had positive trends in the last couple of days, this higher pressure signal, but it's not there yet. Still would be very changeable. But if we did see some more trends like this, then we could definitely be in with a plausible idea of some drier weather into the middle of the month, sustained drier weather. And if you finally compare to the eastern Earth, which is just a run, again, you see the southerly wind coming in this weekend ahead of that low pressure system. Low pressure system continues to push through, and then again at day 10, we see a higher pressure cell trying to push in from the south with some pretty warm air again within it, but always battling against the westerly winds that are trying to win out. And in this sort of scenario, we would likely see the westerly winds win out for a time for another high pressure cell does build in. Now, to finish by looking at the latest ensembles, you can see this well reflected here. Big spike of warmth on the weekend. It actually could be a couple of days of drier conditions. And then as the longer term, look at the precipitation signal. It's not zero, but it definitely has decreased quite substantially in the past, or compared to the part we saw a couple of days ago, which just shows you how quickly things can change. Yes, it's likely to rain unsettled at least for the next few days, but longer term picture is definitely looking better, not guaranteed, but looking better. And those upper end temperatures are slowly trending more above average, so could be a good signal here, good trends. Something warmer and dry could be on the cards. But look at the sea level pressure, look at that upwards trend into the longer term. Again, signs that pressures are rising, especially for London. We had to look at Glasgow for the pressure though. You can see it's not quite as high, but still got this slight positive trend. And then finally, if we look at those 2 meter temperatures, you can see into Saturday spike up to maybe the high teens, and longer term, more dominant around those mid-teens. Few ensembles getting up towards the 20 degrees. Haven't seen much of that over the past couple of weeks, but more and more ensemble members reaching 20 degrees. Again, it's expected this time of year. We are heading towards summer, but it's a positive signal as we have seen lots of rain, lots of unsettled conditions in those longer range forecasts, not giving cold conditions, but not allowing any of that sort of typical warm, drier weather that we expect to see at least for a period of time during spring. It's kind of a typical pattern we do see, just like in winter. Even though, of course, our winters are turning milder, most people still expect at least a cold and maybe snowy spell for at least a week or two, or even more throughout the 3 months of winter. The same as for spring. We normally would expect some spring warmth, some sunshine and dry conditions, and that sort of first spell of where we see those temperatures climbing into the 20s. But we've not seen it so far, and not really had much signal for it, but perhaps it could be coming as we head in towards the middle of April. Positive signs, as I said, but we'll still have to wait and see. Finally, if we finish with the ECMWF, very similar picture. Big spike of temperatures this weekend, and then generally longer term, more warmer runs, some very warm runs, sustained warm runs. You can see they're not much of a spike around that middle of April point. They're more of a crest, more of a big wave there, which indicates it's not just going to be a one day and gone like this Saturday is going to be. It's more likely to hang around for a few days, and generally drier ensembles. Not zero, still quite a lot of precipitation there, but definitely much lower than it has been recently. So pretty positive signals today if you're looking for something drier and warmer. Of course, we've got a bit of warm weather on Saturday, especially through the morning. So if you do see some sunshine, it could be pretty summer-like out there, especially muggy and warm in that south and eastern quadrant. But of course, we'll have to see. It could be a little hint to what could be in store over the next few weeks. Of course, we'll have to wait and see. Things can still change, but we've got some positive trends once again today, and hopefully we see that continue. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.